measure. And understanding and supporting somebody going through that transition is extremely difficult. And I'm very lucky to have a very supportive family and people around me. But I think for many people, it's very easy to become isolated. And the more... we call it the scattergun approach when you're applying for lots of jobs online, and it almost becomes a survival job nowadays for many people because they quite literally still have those bills to pay. And that can actually, in some ways, it's interesting, there was some statistics from USA Today published earlier this week that talked about, do you take a survival job, and if so, is that going to affect your future employability chances? If you've been a middle manager, for example, in the past, so are employers necessarily going to think, well, he or she has still got those skills? Or do you find that that's going to affect, that quite literally is going to help you get your next role? Because you're still in employment, and it's much easier to get another job if you're still in employment than not.
I've many years ago now, I took a job that was going backwards down the ladder, if you like. So I've been a branch manager, I've been an area manager, I've been sales, I've gone through all that lot, and I went into sales, and it wasn't really my thing. And I went into sales for a national company, and I didn't enjoy it, so I left. And I took an engineer's job.
Right.
It was there, they were looking, and I rang them up and said, well, I'll come and work for an engineer. And my boss at the time said, well, how are you going to feel taking that step? Oh, no, I'll be absolutely fine. My feeling of self-worth vanished.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I loved the job. It was easy. Had long hours in it, but that's the nature of the beast, But it was relatively easy. I was very secure in my job, well respected within the company. And I was there for 4 years, and I was a zombie for 4 years. I pitched up. I had very little. I still had pride in my jobs, and I still did the best job I could, and I stand by that. I have done that in every. I'm here volunteering on the radio station, and I do try and make this the best show that I can do it, and it will get better. Won't it, Terry?
Absolutely.
But
one day.
Yeah, one day. I ended up stuck there for 4 years, which was my own choice. But it was so easy, I didn't want to leave. It was comfortable.
Yeah.
But again, every day it was just nibbling away.
Yes.
One thing I am intrigued, and it's slightly, I suppose it's not controversial, is it? How do you find the job centre? Because, of course, you have to go there,
Wow.
don't you? Hasn't that changed?
That is probably the hardest thing of all. The support for middle and senior managers is non-existent. It quite literally is. And for those people that may be listening that may have similar experience in the job centre, it quite literally, unfortunately, is almost a form-filling exercise. It's something you have to go through, but the quality of advice, support, is just
not good, is it?
It's just not there.
And they've rebranded, obviously, the Job Centre Plus. Plus.
But when I went there a few years ago now, but they said to me that I will never find you a job.
Yeah, and that's been my experience as well.
So just fill the forms out.
Yeah,
and that's soul destroying.
It is soul destroying, because you work hard in life to build yourself up to something what you're proud of, and all of a sudden you're a nobody again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I felt the sense of shame. I really did, because being unemployed currently, it's tremendously hard.
Interesting when we are also in a world now. As we dive underneath the mic, where sadly we are dealing with second and third generation unemployed, and we are hearing on the documentaries and on the television and all the rest of it. People are saying, "Oh, well, we're lucky. We live in a country where we can choose to not work," and yet you're here saying actually you felt terrible going in there and signing on, but you must have been around people that maybe didn't. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, I think it is. I think in any sector of society you've always got individuals that take different approaches depending on where they are in terms of their own lifestyles and ambitions. So you've got a hardcore of individuals that it may be, and I hate saying it, but it may be a lifestyle choice. For some, for others, it may be something that comes as a tremendous shock. And
it did to me when I had to sign.
Yeah, and I fall into that category as well, Dave. I think for me, there was a sense of shame, a sense that I'd let down my family, and a sense that those people that had previously looked up to me, I felt differently about myself. in terms of my own self-worth, my self-esteem. And the more applications you submit and you don't get those callbacks, the more it almost becomes a virtuous cycle.
I think at some point I started to feel... I mean, I've been running my own consultancy now for quite some time, and I'm glad I do. But I started to feel like maybe the last job I'd had, was I a fraud? Did I really deserve it? Because I can't get another one like it.
Yeah.
So maybe actually I wasn't good at the last job that I thought I'd been good at, and maybe I was being kept for some other reason, or they didn't know what they were looking for. And you do, don't you? You start challenging your every belief, and you don't know where to go. And like you say, the support is terrible, but we're lucky in Milton Keynes. You mentioned them already. Do you want to give them another plug?
I do.
MKEA
are exceptional, and for those of you that are not familiar with it, it's Milton Keynes Executives Action, and it's run by a guy called Melvin Hurley and a management team. And I just want to take a moment just to pay tribute to the work and dedication that the guys perform. They have quite literally been, I described it as an oasis for me in terms of restoring or helping to restore my sense of self-worth, my self-belief, and also my self-confidence. Melvin in particular has been a truly inspirational in terms of how he leads and inspires others. They were formed some 4 years ago, and in that time they have helped almost 400 people in the Milton Keynes area.
And they're a complete voluntary organisation.
Absolutely voluntary. They receive some funding from the DWP, but it doesn't go anywhere near to covering all the full costs.
Wouldn't it be really nice if we could find a way in the world where the percentage of money that goes to, let's say, Job Centre Plus, that is being sent there, let's be real, to support you, well, it's failing, it's not supporting you. Wouldn't it be wonderful if those funds could go to the place that is supporting you, to somewhere like MK?
Very much so.
Do you remember the days of the Job Centre where you'd go in and there were all the boards and the little cards, and you'd go through and you'd take the card down, or you'd scribble down the details that you wanted, you'd go up to the desk, and they would pick up the phone there and then, wouldn't they? And they'd ring the company and say, actually, let's get your interview booked, anything you need to know, anything on it to tell the candidate, and it was actually really, it still wasn't a pleasant experience, but let's face it shouldn't be, should it?
No. I mean, for me, I've literally, up until the current period, I'd had 3 weeks out of work in a 40-year career. And I was immensely proud of that record, immensely proud.
And how long has it been now?
It's been end of March, beginning of April. So in that time, I have submitted in excess of 120 applications, had probably around 13 or 14 interviews, some of which have gone very well. And in fact, I actually teach interview skills, so for me,
they should go well.
They absolutely should. And interestingly, I've taught in excess of 70 managers across Europe how to actually interview using a competency-based framework. So I believe I performed very well for different reasons. Some of those interviews didn't work out as well as I would have hoped. Others, I took the decision that some of the organisations that I'd interviewed for, some of those roles were later withdrawn, which comes back to the earlier point you were making about requisitions can be cancelled almost at a moment's notice. So you can get a good way down the interview process and then find all of a sudden it's either gone to an internal candidate or that role has just been pulled due to financial reasons, headcount reasons, whatever that might be. And that's the most frustrating of all. And I think if you have to deal with a situation like that, because you put your heart and soul into preparing for that interview, you do meticulous research, you anticipate all of the kind of questions you're going to be asked, and again it's researching the company's products, their markets, market share, numbers of employees, etc., etc. And when you put in that amount of preparation and then you get so far down the process and then find that it's either gone to another candidate, but you don't receive any quality feedback at the end of that process to help you understand and process why you weren't selected for that role. That's the disconnect.
It's scary, isn't it?
And that's the part where you think, well, actually, I mean, some good examples where you're a great match for the role, you've got all the skills and experience, but, for reasons unbeknown to myself, it's gone to another candidate.
Yeah.
And you think, well, actually, if I was such a great fit, how come I'm not being selected?
Right.
And I think
somewhere along the line, someone's not being straight with me.
And that's the hardest bit, I think, to deal with. And and on the other hand, you've got some exceptional sort of recruiters and employers that do provide quality feedback, and I pay tribute to those because I've been at the other end. I've done the HR business partner bit where I've received literally 150 applications for one job.
Yeah.
So I totally understand, the sort of the things that they're up against as well. But I do think there is massive room for employment in terms of the candidate experience.
There has to be, doesn't it? I'll tell you what, we will have a think about that. I think when we come back, we'll talk about. Well, let's try and give a couple of hints and tips to those following through, shall we? So let's have a listen to this, and we're back in a few minutes.
Every move we make, call it a mistake. Looking at a wall like a prisoner in chains. Tell us that we're wrong, tell us what we want. Throw us in an ocean that I know we don't belong. That's when the passion comes in. That's when we fight and we win. We are the miracle, lightning bolt, love us all. Just the way we are. 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 Who we gonna be? Nobody can tell. But you're trying to write a script for me that's made for someone else. Changing up the rules I gotta break. For the diamond that's inside of me will always be a fake. That's when the passion comes in. Ooh, that's when we fight and we win. We are the miracle, lightning bolt, love us all. Just the way we are. 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 Show them your light, don't turn them down. It's not their right to come and criticize. Show them your light, it's a miracle. Love us all just the way we just the way we are, never change who we are. Just the way we are, stay the same. Just the way we are. Just the way we are, stay the same. Just the way we are, never change who we are. Just the way we are, stay the same. Just the way we are. Just the way we are. All I'm asking is you to love us just the way we are.
Natasha's Noise, Fridays at 6 on Seclo Sounds. The only place to get the latest YouTube news and gossip. Tune in for an hour of chat and euphony that you won't want to miss. So remember, Natasha's Noise here on Seclo Sounds, Fridays at 6.
She still scares me. Our paths have never yet crossed. We keep missing each other. There's something about her promo that makes me go, oh, I've got to tune in. So, welcome back. This is Seclo Sounds. I am David Stimson, and you are listening to Transition. Good afternoon, Miss Wildman. She's just joined us on Periscope as well. Look at that. We kind of hinted at before, didn't we? The hour is rapidly galloping away from us, which I think is a good thing. And as we discussed earlier, and those on Periscope will have heard that, we could make this easily 2 or 3 shows. It's a minefield. One thing before I do forget, would you like to, you are a man for hire, very, very quickly, sort of, 30 seconds. Let's have your CV and how we get hold of you. Go for it.
Okay, thank you. So in terms of contacting me, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. The name is Ken Summerfield. You'll see that I'm a certified facilitator, many years experience within HR and within learning and development as well. 25-year plus career within BT, so lots of current skills, highly transferable skills. One of the things I specialise in